Hi guys, how are you? I hope you all are doing fine and we are progressing towards the end of Pire Kamil reaction reviews. Why do I keep saying reaction reviews? Like these are the same thing almost. Reaction videos. And yes, today I'll be reacting to chapter 8 and 9. And tomorrow will be the last reaction video on this whole series that I've been doing. Before starting, a couple of things. Samir asked me to do a reaction video by playing the original audio from the audiobook and then reacting to it. Unfortunately, Samir, I'm not that tech savvy right now, and this is still a small account. I would try to do it and see if I do not get the copyright strike. But thanks for the request, and yeah, I can only say that I will try doing it. Second was, I think, from Sakura. She followed me on Instagram and she was like, I'm such a fan. So, no, Sakura, no opening for fan on this channel, okay? I would rather have you as my friend. I do not believe in fanship because they are very docile. So, I would rather have you as my friend. Thank you for all of your lovely comments. All of you guys for watching, commenting, and I've been getting a lot of, recommendations for these Urdu novels. I've never heard of them, but yeah, I would try the audiobooks if they are available, and I would try like working with audiobooks because audiobooks and I don't get that well. So yeah, I will see where that goes. But before doing that, let's get back to Pire Kamil. So at the beginning of chapter 8, we see that Salar is in Kaaba and he makes this wish, and that wish was so beautiful. It roughly translates into, among all the pure women in this world, I want Amama Hashim as mine, something along the lines, and that wish is very beautiful in Urdu actually. So I loved that part. And he was like, if I have done anything good in this life, you give me a Mama Hashim as return. And if you want this, it could still happen, because he was like, he was, very unsettled by the thought of a Mama marrying somebody else. So that's why he went to Umrah. Yeah, it's called Umrah, right? And he made this wish. There, Salar is like, I'm going back to America for PhD. I was like, how? Like there is still only like 3 chapters left, and it has already been 8 years. When are they going to meet? Like, is there, because I knew that there was a second part of this book, so I was like, will I have to read the second part for them to be together? What is going on? Then Saida Amma comes to Salar's house one Sunday morning, and comes to she comes to hand him a wedding invitation of Amna's marriage. And I was like, now that I know, now that I have got the spoiler that Amna is Amama, I'm not really sure where this story is going. And then I was like, maybe she'll marry to someone else. And then in the next novel, which is Abe Hayat, they will have this, uh, probably they'll meet up and then their story will progress. But there is no Hindi translation of Abe Hayat. And I was like, okay, this book is traumatizing me day by day. And I was like, I'm going to riot. I'm going to probably go on Umera Ahmed's account and be like, please, could you not do this to me? But yeah, Salar was like very relieved that okay, now she has got a good person for her daughters, like for her daughter, and now the weight is off my shoulder. And I was like, no, dude, you, like, stop, you are going the wrong way. He decided not to go, and but Furkan was there. So I was like, maybe something bad should happen. I was like wishing, and I was like, what kind of person am I? This is so bad. Like, I was judging myself through it all, but then comes the twist again, because Furkan calls Salar and he was like, "You have to come like instantly. There is some, something has bad has happened." And I was like, "What? Where is this going? Like, what bad has happened?" And I thought that like something has happened to Saida Ma or like Dr. Sibte Ali. I was like, okay, but how is that going to, maybe like he'll come and then he'll see Amama and then Amama will see him and they'll probably stop the wedding. But when Furkan, like, when he comes, Salar comes, Furkan tells him that the guy has, like, the guy she was supposed to marry, Amna was supposed to marry, has denied to marry her for some reason, and now Dr. Sipte Ali wants Salar to marry Amna, and then Salar was like, "No, I can't do that. What about Amama? I am a married man, all of that." And I was like, dude, you just made a wish to Allah, and He's honoring that wish. Like, bow your head down, keep it down, son. You're getting everything that you have ever wanted from like 8 years. Do not resist. And then, uh, like, Dr. Septali called and he talked to Salar, and Salar was finally convinced that okay, fine, I'll do it, but there will be no ruksati. And then we see this internal tussle that like Salar goes through. He was like, is this what Allah has decided for me? Like, it's like, does He want to uh, take Amama forever from my life? But then he was like, but then he sort of questioned, like, I also asked for, like all these thoughts that he constantly used to get. I also asked that, like, they should also stop if you are not going to give me the girl, something along those lines. And then he takes the letter out that Amama wrote to Sikandar Usman. He was keeping it with himself, and he read those lines again. And that was a very, you could feel through those words that he felt like a defeated man. That's when he sort of decides that he will tell Dr. Sipte Ali everything, like about his first wedding, about the girl that he has been, sort of praying for, sort of has fallen in love with. He was like, I do not care anymore now. Like, I'll be very truthful to everyone involved. So he goes to Dr. Sipte Ali. He tells him everything, and Dr. Sipte Ali questions that, why haven't you like mentioned it? You have been coming here so many times. Why didn't you, like, you know you should have let me know. But then again, Dr. Sipte Ali was like, I'm very happy that Amna has got this very good man. And Salar was like self-doubting himself. He was like, I'm not a very good man. Like, I have done this. You do not know me before. You have met me. I've been so and so. But then the doctor was like, no, but you have this realization and you have changed your path, so yeah, now you're a good man, accept it. Sort of like that. And he was like, Salar was very upset that like Dr. Siptali did not mention Amama, like, for once. And he was again like, even there's no mention of her. Is this like one of the signs that she has gone from my life forever? And he was again very sad about it. Then Salar decides to tell all of these things to, I think, Amna as well, because he asked Furkan to come with him uh, to Saida Amma's home. And Furkan was like, please, for God's sake, do not ruin this for everyone. Like, don't do this. He was all upset about it. He was very desperate that this should work for him. Like, he deserves happiness as well. Like, his friend deserves to have his own family, and he's sort of sabotaging it, sort of self sabotaging it. So he was not very excited about it. But then Salar was like, no, I want to just talk it out, and I want to just let the girl know that what she is getting into, she should also know, which was like very good. Like, he was not in the know that Amna is a mama, and that explains a person's character. Like, he was so thorough with it, that this is my reality. Do you want to accept me as your husband? Like, make your own decision, sort of. And Salar was sort of doing it because he was like, you, Furkan, you have told me that she's, smart, she's beautiful. It's not too late for her. Like, there's all, like, she could do something about it when she gets to know the truth. So I think that was very kind of him. And Furkan, like, sort of gave up on his friend. He was like, do whatever you want, man. Like, you are beyond saving, sort of. He was irritated. And then he went to Saidama. He said that, like, Salar wants to talk alone uh, with Amna. And Saidama was like, what about? She was like, naturally very concerned about it. But Furkan was like, there's no need to worry about it. And I was like, Furkan, dude, if, thank God that Amna is a mama. Otherwise, like, you would have ruined it for everyone. But yeah, then Saida Ahmad takes Salar to Amna's room, and the whole scene, like when they finally gets to see each other after 8 years, I was like, finally, because the guy has met Jalal Ansar like more times than he has met his wife. Have some the audacity of the writer, by the way, because, like, yeah, I had problems with that. Anyway, so they finally meet, see each other, and he was like, I have never seen a more beautiful girl than her. Or, after seeing her, I couldn't find any other girl that beautiful. I was like, okay, my man is like gone for, he has like got everything that he has want in his life. And yep, finally, I was like, thank God, thank God, this has happened. My desperation to, like, when are they going to meet has come to an end. This was the slowest burn ever. Thank God. And yeah, thanks to Mera Ahmad for killing all of us. Then, like, Saida Ma calls him in the room. She was like, come inside, it's your own house, sort of those, formalities. And then they both sit. But Saida Amma didn't understand. I think she probably meant like Salar wanted to talk to her in the absence of Furkan, but not Saida Amma. So she was sitting there as well. And then she was like, you wanted to talk something? Please say something. Like, I'm here getting a heart attack of some sort. Don't do this to us. Then Salar could only say like, no, I just wanted to see her. And then she was like, oh, okay, you wanted to see her. I mean, she's your wife, of course. Do that. It was such a, a small trivial thing. She was like very relieved by it. But then he said like, yeah, and tell her to pack her bags. We are out. I was like, my guy is not waiting anymore. Like, he has waited for 8 years, Saidama. You have to sit this one down. Like, don't object, otherwise I'm going to lose my shit now. And then finally, Amama, we are going to address her as Amama now. Amama says finally that I have not yet packed my bags. Like, he told me that this is going to be just nikah, and she might have probably thought him as idiot. I also didn't understand by this point that why is she not in shock. Like, she was so relieved when she heard that Salar was dead. How is she not like reacting badly to it? Like, why is she so calm? She was like, I'm so poised. I'm the. And I was like, okay, she has probably made peace with, like, thinking something along the lines that this is Allah's will probably, and she has made peace with it. So that's what like my line of thought was initially. And well, coming back to the whole conversation, she was like, I haven't packed my bags. And then Salar was like, you can take all of the time that you want, but the ruksati is going to be today. And I was like, course. Of course he is going to say that. Like, he's not going to wait. We have waited. It's like it has been, I was like, it has been 80 years now. I was like that woman from Titanic. Okay, I was waiting for them to meet. But it was all Jalal Ansar that he was like seeing everywhere. And then Furkan was like, so you've talked to Amna? And he was like, yeah. And then he was like, what did you say? And he was like, nothing much. And then they were like, talking in the conversation, he mentions that, yeah, just waiting for her to pack her bags and come along. And he was like, but you were not planning for the Ruksati. And Salar was like, yeah, I just thought about it. He was like being very, casual about it. And then this whole thing, like Salar was not even facing Amama, and like she was also. It's mentioned that she was also feeling that coldness that was coming from him. But I was like, he's probably so shocked. Like, you have shocked the life out of him. So yeah, it will take him some time to adjust to all of this. So then there's this line comes that like Furkan, and after dropping Amama off to like Salar's house, I think it was Salar's house, I don't remember exactly. So Furkan and Salar are in conversation. Furkan is going to his house probably, but he was like convincing Salar that you have done this neki, you have done this good deed. So yeah, just go ahead, enjoy your life, try to adjust all of, like, he was giving a big brotherly advice. Furkan mentions that he has never seen a person who has got everything in his life. So somehow he was like trying to convince Salar to move on from Amama, and then Salar, like, when Furkan gives all of that monologue, he's done with the monologue, he is done giving the brotherly advice. Salar was like, he just, he was very content with whatever was going on, and in that, very sort of that calm, composed voice, he asked Furkan that you were saying that you have never met a person who has got everything in his life, but then you have to like watch me, see me, because I'm that person who has got everything in his life. He says that what you are like labeling it as a good deed is, it's actually, I did not understand the word because the Hindi translation is not exactly in Hindi. It's just in Hindi script with everything Urdu. So that's why this is the like closest translation. So, but I think it roughly translates into, it's actually the reward for everything that I have done good. I have got that reward on this earth in this life only, and my destiny is the same as it was 9 years back. And Amama Hashim is in my house at this very moment. And then he says goodbye, and Furkan was like confused, and he probably thought that he's so much like, his friend is so much in shock that he has like finally lost his mind. Like, it's gone now. He was Furkan has made peace that, yeah, he's gone mental. They have done so much bad things to him by convincing him to marry Amna that he has lost it. Finally, in the ninth chapter, we see what happens to Imama, because one of the, I think, comments also mentions that there wasn't much character. Like, Imama's character was at the beginning and at the very end. Otherwise, the novel only revolved around Salar Sikandar, which was very right, because in the ninth chapter we got to know what happened to Imama. Otherwise, it was such a mystery that, like, where is she. But I think that was one of the beauty of this novel, because you're always, it left readers wondering, like, where is she, how is she doing, giving minor heart attacks, like, is she in those red light area streets or whatever. But finally we got to know in the ninth chapter that she went to Sabiha, who was the lecturer in the initial chapters, a religious lecturer and also a student. Then from then on, she from through Sabiha, I think she met Maryam. Maryam was the daughter of Dr. Siptali, again very kind, like her father. So they initially gave Amama shelter. They protected her through it all. They also, Amama told Dr. Siptali everything except her marriage to Salar, because she thought that he will probably judge and he will probably think that this is not for religious purpose, but it's, an issue of love affair. So she, and very rightfully so, because people can think that. Even I was thinking that. I was like, she's doing that to us just because she's in love with someone else, probably Jalal Ansar. So even I judged her. Um, but and so yeah, she very rightfully like redacted that information, but she told everything else. And Dr. Sipte Ali very kindly offered her refugee. He was the one who helped her to get new admission, get a new identity. He sent her to complete BSc and then MSc, I think, from chemistry probably. He also once asked Amama that who is Salar Sikandar, and Amama was shocked, but she was like, he's a very bad guy. I do not like him at all. All of those things. He also like advised Amama not to ever use the mobile given by like he never knew that he Salar, it was Salar's mobile, but he was in the know that Amama had a mobile. So I think he probably advised her to never use it again, because the police was searching relentlessly for Amama. So yeah, and then after some time, when Amama contacts Salar for divorce, he refuses it, and then Amama was like, "Okay, this is my life now. Like, it's so shitty. This is a shitty person. I should have never trusted him." And rightfully so, she was like pissed at him, and that's why she like never contacted Salar again, because she was like, it's like of no use. Also, it is shown that when she used to like watch all of Mariam was doing a degree in medical, so she was like, whenever she used to watch them, and then that is the moment. And I think the author should have mentioned it, like she should have given more space to Amama's character, because that's through there I got to know, like, oh my god, she was going through a lot. She was initially, even though the character came across as rude in the initial chapter, it was very rightfully so, because first of all, she was very young when she made that decision of the whole, change of religion, change of everything. And then she left a lot many things to, have this path for herself, which was very bold and courageous for a girl of her age. There is a moment where like Dr. Sipyali also talks about the marriage, her marriage, and she was like very unsettled by that thought, because first of all, she's still married to Salar, and secondly, she was like, yeah, actually her problem was this, like she couldn't tell anybody, but um, yeah, like she hasn't yet divorced the man she initially married to, she initially got married to. So that was her whole dilemma, and she was very, in turmoil, like where is this going to go. So she finally convinces Dr. Sipte Ali that like, let me complete my studies and then I'll marry anywhere of your liking. She goes to Multan, she studies there, and then at the last year of her, studies, she finally, after completing her studies, she finally contact from a PCO in Multan that to Salar, and because she probably thought that if they trace her to Multan, they will have no, she would have already left by then. So that was very brainy through her part. She contacts Salar. Sikandar Usman picks up the phone. He tells her that Salar is dead, and that's how she was like free to do whatever she wants, like marry whoever she wants. There was no, um, disruption in that area of her life now. So she was very relieved, very, happy with that news. Whole incident of Saida Amma getting lost happened, but when Saida Amma returned, she was continuously mentioning two names for Furqan and Salar, but like it never occurred to Amama that the Salar is the same Salar Sikandar, because obviously she by then was like has made peace with the fact that Salar Sikandar is dead. I think she was also doing job somewhere, and through there she met Rabia, and Rabia sort of told her everything about every of the classmates. She was like, "Yeah, all of this happened," and she also tells her that I was like, uh, I converted to Islam, and and I could not live with my parents. So, but Rabia was like, because of you, we had to go through a lot. And I was like, girl, calm down. She has went through a lot. So, like, yeah. Then Rabia is the one who tells her about Jalal Ansar that his marriage didn't work. He has a kid as well. And I was like, no, 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 no. His marriage didn't work. It's like, okay, that is not good information, because but then I was like she has been through a lot. She is not probably going to go to Jalal Ansar now. Like they have parted ways, and she would have this thought like Jalal didn't help her then, so like he is not a good person. But Amama was like, where is the character development, girl? Like, please don't infuriate me further. Like, it has been so many years. You have not learned a thing, or like what? She was like, but like now that he's divorced, I have a chance. What? Am I reading this right? Like, what? And she was like, probably this is like a God sent way for me to know about Jalal, and this is like Allah has given me this chance. This is my last chance. I should use it. I was like, no, no, wait a minute. Allah will probably like, you know, show you something that you are not, because he is not a good person. So I was like very rooting on the fact that he'll piss her off in some way. And she was all smitten when she, you know, saw Jalal Ansar, and I was like, it has been so many years. He never helped you. Like, what? And then she was like, just, sometimes it's just enough to, see some people. And I was like, no, I get the sentiments, but it should not be for Jalal Ansar, at least. Then she meets Jalal, she gets into talking, they get into this whole conversation, and she reminds him. She again proposes him. She was like, it was not Jalal who proposed her. I'll give to the guy that he is, very sorted in his thoughts of not marrying her. Uh, she was like, I have requested like years back to you that I want to marry you. Can I make this request again? And I was like, have some self respect for yourself. When he denies again, she thinks that it's because of the kid, and she very, kindly tells him that I do not have any problem with the kid, I do not have any problem with your first marriage, all of that. And this stupid guy, this, you know trash of a human being, yes, I'm judging thoroughly, I don't care if any of you have a problem. He was a trash of a human being, because he was like, I don't know where you have been for all those years. Like, he sort of indirectly character assassinated her in some way. He was like, everybody will question my wife, I do not want everybody questioning my wife. Like, dude, be man enough, okay? He was trying to lighten that blow. He was like, I know you're a good girl, but people won't like know this about you, they won't think that you are a good girl. And I was so shocked, like the audacity of the man to say this. If you can't say something kind, keep your mouth shut. And she cries, come back to home, and she was all sad about it. Then Saidama was insistent, like, what happened? Do you want to eat something? Should I do something? Do you want some medicine? And she was like, leave me alone. And then she cried, and that's where the ninth chapter ended. And I was like, it has been so many years. girl, you sort of deserve this for going back to Jalal Ansar. Like, we don't like him over here. Get the hints, read the room, read the readers or whatever. Do something. So yeah, that was the two chapters for today, guys. Tomorrow I'll be reacting on the last chapter and will be giving my overall review and what I have got to know through all the controversial topics belonging to this book of some sort. And yeah, till then, have happy reading, and I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.